you prepare as thoroughly as you can. The guys play their asses off.
Playoffs? Don't talk about playoffs. You kidding me? Playoffs? I just hope we can win a game. Another game.
Listen, we talking about practice. Not a game, not a game, not a game. We talking about practice.
That you probably won't say it again.
I bet I do.
Okay.
Chris?
If you want to crown them, then crown their ass. If they are who we thought they were, when we let them off the hook.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
Gather around, Skull brothers and sisters. This is Skull Ranch, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. I got a special guest for you today, Tanner Weber. You may know him from the Purple, what was it again? The Purple Mortgage guys, and you can find him on Twitter at Purple Post. Man, how you doing? How's it going, man?
I'm good, brother. I appreciate you having me back on. It's been a while. And
yeah, it's been a while.
It's
been a while. This is twice. The third time makes you a friend of the program, so we gotta get you on the third time. But hey, and if you guys, he was telling me off the air that Purple Mortgage guys might be kicking it back up again. Sometimes life happens. I'll look forward to it. You guys are very insightful, good old Minnesota boys, and it's good to watch. And follow him on Twitter and go buy a house. Use him. This guy right here, right?
You got it. I appreciate that.
What's your overall impression? Let's just start off with the overall impression of Sam Darnold, man.
Yeah. It's tough for me to say. I don't want to sound like I expected it. But I think that there was kind of a misrepresentation, I think, for Sam coming into this season. So many people, and it is still early, like there is a chance that he very well could crap the bed and end up maybe not finishing the season well, and we're hoping that's not going to be the case. But, top 5 pick, and because he's a top 5 pick, the talent was always there. He has the arm strength. He's shown that he had the accuracy in college, and he became a top 5 pick for a reason. But the issue, coming into a league, he played on a disastrous Jets team, horrible offensive line, never really surrounded with any weapons. And then got traded to a Carolina team that wasn't in a much better place than the New York team, and he's just never really had the ability to become a full-time starter in a situation where he has had talent around him to be able to be successful. And I think that's extremely important for young quarterbacks. I think we're even kind of seeing that right now with Bryce Young. In Carolina, getting forced into a situation, I think, where they maybe don't have the most talented team, and I think that really stunts growth for rookie QBs. So got sent to San Francisco. Obviously, we never saw him as a starter. Brock Purdy has been fantastic, but the one start that Sam did play in last year at the end of the season there, he looked awesome with that Niners team, and now he's in Minnesota playing with a fantastic defensive flow, the best wide receiver in the game right now. Aaron Jones, good offensive line. Like this is really his last chance, I think, to show that he can be a starter in this league. And I think he has all the tools to do it. He's just got to put it together. I think the last thing I really want to hit on Sam Darnold is it was awesome to see him. He did play extremely well last week, but after his interception, just marched right back down the field and put up some points. And that's the biggest thing, I think, in the NFL. If you have the ability to, make a mistake and come back from that and show that you can be poised and not be rattled, and show that you can be a leader. I think guys really rally around somebody like that, and he's just in a fantastic situation. It's been really cool to see him flourish like this.
Little anecdote. Like I put out like the enthusiasm over the Josh Dobbs last year. People were out buying their jerseys and his jersey, and it was just racks and racks of Josh Dobbs jerseys as people just threw their money away. And I'm like, what's the difference this year? I mean, Sam Darnold looks more sustainable at the way he's playing. And where is the enthusiasm? I know people are enthusiastic with Sam Darnold, but no one's out there saying, I just got my Sam Darnold jersey in. I got number 14. One guy told me I still have Brad Johnson's 14. I'll wear that. And then Brad Johnson shouted him out as he tweeted. So I thought it was hilarious. But one guy put a point in there. He says that, we're worried about it being just like Dobbs, and I don't feel that way because I do think it is sustainable. I do think there's going to be a big division on if he keeps this up of who wants to be. And I put a poll out there, and 46% said JJ McCarthy no matter what next year. What do you think about giving him more time, or hey, he's ready, let's talk, we can think extension, or are you a JJ McCarthy no matter what next year because you want that rookie scale contract on your quarterback?
I got to tell you everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm a little scared to say that. I like JJ McCarthy a lot. I think he's going to be a really successful QB. I think he will be our guy soon enough. But I feel like we're kind of back in a scenario, and I'm hoping that we do get put back in a situation, because that's good for us if we have the ability to have a guy like Sam that has a really good year, like Case Keenum, where he's a one-year wonder, comes in, plays really well, and then he kind of forces the team and puts everything back in their corner to say, hey, do you want to come back another year, or do you franchise him and try to trade him and get something for him? Because there are teams there's always teams every single year that need QBs, and I'm just a huge believer in rookie quarterbacks coming in and sitting down and just learning the system, becoming comfortable with the playbook, just being a sponge and soaking up as much as possible. And I think that's really going to benefit JJ McCarthy in the long run. I think this is a really good place for him to come in if he did have to start right away to be successful. But I think I would rather him sit at the helm as long as possible, or sit on the sidelines and just be a sponge. Like I said, I feel like when you look at most of the successful QBs in the league, I just think of guys like Patrick Mahomes, even though it was like a season, to sit for a full season though and just learn as much from a guy like Alex Smith, a tenured vet, as much as possible. I just think that really benefits guys going forward, as opposed to just being thrusted into the fire. And
now I've been the same way. You said it earlier. You kind of painted the picture. You had all the someone tried to call me out because I was like the Sam Darnold hater, apparently, like when Twitter came out, because all I was saying, and I reposted it recently, I'm like, I wanted him to win the job. I didn't want it handed to him. We already got a Nick Mullins. Nick Mullins ultimately has been a better quarterback than Sam Darnold, and Nick Mullins had no idea he was going to start when he went and played. But he had 8, per attempt, and Sam Darnold was 6.7, and just never threw over 2,500 yards, never got more than 15 touchdowns. You put Nick Mullins' stats together, and it's all pro with all he's got over 4,000 yards in 17 games. He's got 30 some touchdowns. He's, but there's the interceptions there. And that both of them had those problems. But I could guarantee you, that Sam Darnold has a much better arm and is more athletic and taller than Nick Mullins. He has all the talent, and all I've been saying this off season, as far as OTAs and in camp, is that he has all the athletic ability, and I just hope Kevin O'Connell could squeeze that out of him. He threw for he had that 90 whatever yard touchdown drive against us when he was with Carolina, and he showed athletic ability, and he's shown spurts of talent. He just never put it together consistently. And my hope was that Kevin O'Connell can squeeze it out of him. And I do now think he is a quarterback whisperer. He's proven it to me. What do you think about that? What do you think of Kevin O'Connell and how he's developing quarterbacks?
Oh yeah, KOC's been absolutely fantastic, and I mean, I think even with Josh Dobbs last year, granted Josh didn't end on a great note, but I think for him to work with a guy like that on such a short notice to come in and help him learn the playbook as much as possible, and for us to have such short-term success with that on such a limited schedule, I think really showed us what kind of a coach KOC is. And I mean, we've seen it with Darnold. I mean, you look at a guy here that struggled a lot with his first 2 teams in the league here, and people are already writing him out. You got the Stephen A. Smiths, all the experts, I should say,
ask about that.
really writing these guys off. And I mean, these guys are top
Apparently,
5 picks for
Sam
a reason,
Darnold,
man.
Stephen A. Smith, Sam Darnold. If you're going to be around colds, you're going to catch a cold. If you're going to have a virus, you're going to get the virus.
Yeah, comparing
And
it to a virus.
he thinks he's acquired a virus from Carolina.
Yeah, basically saying that he's some sort of like cancer to a locker room.
I'm going to put that as our thumbnail. I'm going to get a picture of Stephen A. Smith.
Right.
I'm just going to go and snapshot the video you posted, and I'm going to put Stephen A. Smith, and I'm going to say Sam Darnold's caught a virus. And that's going to be my thumbnail.
I love it. That's going to gain a lot of traction, I think. I love it.
Yeah.
That's good stuff.
So,
yeah, KOC's really proven, I think. And you know, you can see it in his post-game comments that he's got in the locker room. I think he really rallies those guys. And it just, even as a fan, that's the kind of guy you seem like you just want to run through a wall for. So as a player, when you're seeing him every single day, in meetings, and practice, I just think that's even heightened a little bit more as a player. So
I think the Vikings should put out a yearly audiobook of his victory speeches. I just shoot it into my veins because, I want to run through a wall for him. He's my forever coach. I've said that for like now 3 years. I've every year I'm saying he's my forever coach because I do think he's a head coach, and like Zimmer was a defensive coordinator that had to have a offense. He had to have someone control the offensive ball, and then he told them, "Hey, you need to run the ball more." And but KOC, I feel like he's the head coach, and he picked Brian Flores to come in. He made a mistake with his first DC. Everybody agrees with it. I think he stuck with the DC when he probably shouldn't have. And but the following year, he was able to get Brian Flores to drop out of the Cardinals to get the Cardinals job, come see us, and it's been awesome. So obviously KOC's been awesome, but maybe Beeflo's been even better with his new defense. Well, tell me what your overall impressions of that is.
Yeah, this sucks. B-Flow's having so much success. It feels like this is kind of going to be our last year rental with him.
Could you tone it down, B-Flow?
Just try not to lead the league in sacks through the first 2 weeks of the season. That'd be appreciated if you could just tone that back a little bit. But we want to win football games. Obviously, we want to win games, and he's been a head coach candidate here for a long time, and he's going to get his shot again. There's no doubt about that at some point here in the league. And I just think that leash that we got on him is getting a little bit shorter every single year. And it feels like if he looks like he has the top 10 defense that he's running here this year. And it's super cool. I don't know if you saw the clip of like Brock Purdy after the game on Sunday. I can't even remember who Brock Purdy confronted at like midfield after the game, but he said something about like, Flo's looks are just like unbelievable. Like I didn't know what the hell I was doing or what I was looking at half the time. He said I didn't know what I was looking at half the time or something like that. So it's super cool because Brock Purdy's had a lot of success in his first 2 years in the league. And for a guy like that, who's only lost like less than 10 games in 2 years, for him to say something like that is pretty cool.
I think we were the only NFC team he's lost to.
Yeah, twice.
Right?
Twice, yeah. Yeah,
that's crazy.
He has an insane record, but not against the Vikings. We're kind of looking like kryptonite here at this point.
Damn, we got their number at home for sure.
We do. Since '92, they have not lost since '92. They're I think 8-0 now.
Wasn't that the year you were born?
No, I wasn't even in existence yet. I was born in '94, so yeah, they.
Dude, I was a junior in college.
Yeah. A little bit of an age gap there, but we're still. Yeah, you've been a Vikings fan forever. I'm proud of you.
Yeah,
you've been through the worst of it.
I came out of the womb.
Yeah, bleeding purple and gold.
So now obviously we had a great game, but I think one of the unsung stories is there's people stepping up that normally weren't stepping up like that or didn't have the opportunity, and they're just coming out of the woodwork on this team. I love this team. All these guys that you would think were no names, nobody could tell if they couldn't pick them out in the lineup. Some of these guys on their team. Is there certain guys that you feel like they're just stepping up out of nowhere on this team?
Yeah, I got a few guys that come to mind. I would say the biggest one as of the first 2 weeks of the season has probably been Blake Brandel. I'll be the first to admit, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are pretty skeptical of and critiqueful, I guess, of our offensive line, our interior offensive line up front. But Blake Brandle's been like one of the highest graded guards in the league through the first 2 weeks of the season. And he's been facing some pretty darn good interiors. With Dexter Lawrence with the Giants in the first week, he's arguably the best defensive tackle in the league right now. And then Javon Hargrave is a stud with the Niners as well. And he's really, really held his own. I wouldn't say he dominated those guys or anything like that. But for a guy like that who went from like competing for that left guard spot to come in and hold his own against two all-pros, well, I shouldn't say Hargrave's an all-pro, but two really high-quality players, that really helps our team quite a bit, especially for an offensive line that's struggled at that position for such a long time. That really helps a guy out like Sam Darnold as well, who definitely needs it.
Well, I'm going to pat myself on the back here. Because if you go rewind the tape, and I got receipts, last year in preseason, after the first preseason game, I started banging the drum for Brandle to take over the right guard spot over Ed Ingram because Cleveland was there already at left guard. And I was banging the drum so bad because Ed Ingram in preseason last year was so bad, absolutely so bad. And Brandle came in their first game, played good, and moved to left guard in the second game. But I was like, why not give this guy a chance? Why not give this guy a chance? So I was hopeful. I was really optimistic when they said, he's earned it. And then he became the starter left guard. And then when they went and got Reisner, they put him as backup right guard. But Ed Ingram, I felt like had a really good game this last game. Yeah. And our offensive line is starting to gel. And even Bradbury was graded high this last game, one of the highest. Are we starting? I know you said that people are skeptical, but are you?
No, I think, and you hear it a lot. I know people have been calling for Ed Ingram to be pulled here for a while, and I think it is.
I was guilty, but I was a defender of his first year. The second year, I was like, holy crap. But go ahead.
I know. I was going to say I'm in the same category as you. I would say I wanted to see some other people get some shots there as a starter as opposed to Ed Ingram, just to maybe push him a little bit more. But there is something to be said about continuity on offensive lines. I mean, I think when you look at some of the best offensive lines in the league right now, especially, I always think of the Falcons, I feel like, and even the Lions and the Eagles. I feel like these are groups that have had 3 to 4 guys that they continue to keep together every single year. So if you're just switching only one out per season, there's a lot of continuity there. And there's just, for people that haven't played football before, like the chemistry that you have up front with those guys is so important, not only from, like a physical play perspective, but just for chemistry purposes as well and communication for the front.
Yeah, and that might have been one of the best offensive line performance we've had in a while, I felt. And is there any other guys outside of Brandle that you thought are stepping up offense, defense?
Yeah, this is going to actually probably sound wild to some people. I have a few more names. I'll start with Pat Jones. Patrick Jones was our highest graded player on Sunday against the Niners. I think he had almost an 88.3 grade. I think once you reach 90, that's considered elite, like an elite grade. Yeah. So you're like an all pro, but had easily the best game of his career. Not a great rookie season. And last year, I think he was the lowest graded player on the team with a minimum of 50 snaps or something like that throughout the season. Just horrendous. I felt like he was always getting bullied in the run game and wasn't really distributing any pressure or anything like that. And I'm not sure what he did this offseason. I actually didn't think that he was going to make, going into training camp, I didn't think that there was a chance that he was going to make the roster based off all the talent that we seem to assemble in the draft and everything. So for him to come in,
a bubble player. Yeah.
Yeah. I think he, and it's not to say Dallas Turner's not going to be a good player in the league for a long time, but I think he right now is kind of through the first 2 weeks of the season, producing the numbers that we thought Dallas Turner was going to be having as a rotational player. So it's super cool to see a guy like that on a low contract come in and produce for your team. And I hope he can keep that going. So.
Yeah. With Pat Jones, I said, if we took away Pat Jones, we'd be second in the league in sacks.
Yeah.
Because we have 11. Second place is 7 tied for 7. Yeah. So it's kind of crazy that Pat, and nobody's talking about him. Barely anybody's posting about him. I was like, hey, is it after the first game? Is anybody going to talk about Pat Jones having 2 sacks and then he has 4 now? It's crazy.
I think does he have 4 or 5? I think he does have 4
4.
actually.
He's
2 in the first, 2 in each of the first 2 games. So
is there who's another player?
yeah, I got Taki Taimani, who is the undrafted free agent from Baylor, I believe that made the squad. He has been fantastic, not necessarily from like a production perspective. Like he's not going to go ahead and pad the stat sheet or anything like that, but he takes up space, and I think he's really going to just help our run game quite a bit throughout the year, especially in Flo's scheme. He likes to send linebackers to plug those holes, and he just helps. When you have a space eater up front like that, I feel like that really helps a lot. And then the last guy, and this is going to sound wild to some people, but for me, like Harrison Smith. Mostly because I feel like we've seen a decline from him, I feel like, each of the last like 3 seasons. And he's on the field all the time, never takes a break, and he's still been like that. I think he leads the team in snaps, actually, this year on the defense through the first 2 games. He's also the highest graded player on the team for the Vikings through the first 2 games. But I feel like we've seen such a decline over the past 3 years. Seems like he's getting slower, getting beat in coverage more, and I feel like he looks like a youngster again through the first 2 games. So I expected that to kind of continue. I expected that trend to continue going into the season, and it is early yet. That's not to say something bad could happen. But Harrison Smith looks like 28-year-old Harrison Smith. And I think that really means a lot to the team to have their leader. He's been our guy here. He's been here forever. He's the locker room leader, and he's the guy that leads by example. And I think for your all-pro safety and future Hall of Fame safety to continue playing at a high level at the age of, gosh, I don't even know what he's at, like 34 or something like that now. I just think that's awesome because I wasn't expecting to see that.
Yeah, seeing that interception that first game really I posted like that was my favorite moment of the game was Harrison Smith got that pick at the end of the game. I was like, that's awesome. Now I'm going to throw a name out there and then you kind of maybe add some here. I just thought guys that are really standing out, and the guy that stood out the most to me, obviously Jefferson's going to stand out, but the guy that stood out the most to me was Cashman this last game. He could have had like 3 picks. He was just all over that field. He led us in tackles. He looked amazing, and he is probably the biggest value pick we have right now because we barely paid him anything to come play for us, and he's playing like an all-pro in that game. He dominated that game, I felt.
Yeah, Blake Cashman. I think you could really make an argument for Blake Cashman or Andrew Van Ginkel. Those guys.
I love Van Ginkel, but I'm talking about Cashman right now. You can bring up Van Ginkel after Cashman.
Yeah. You could almost make like a separate segment and a whole video on like Kwesi's like draft production that he's had, and then like his free agent signings. Like his free agent signings have been fantastic, and I'm not been so happy about his draft picks. But Van Ginkel dominated the first game, and you got Cashman, who was easily our defensive player of the game. I think it feels like for Sunday's game against the Niners. Yeah, I think he had 13 tackles, a sack, 3 PDs, all of them which should have been picked off. And I think I tweeted it was actually the very first drive. I think the Niners went 3 and out to start that game, and he plugged the middle on the first 2 plays of the game, 2 stops, and then that third one he dove to break up that pass for a first down. And I'm like, damn, like Cashman came to play today. And
I thought Purdy was throwing it to him. That's what it looked like.
Yeah,
it was like,
it did.
Damn, Purdy. Geez, Cashman just stepped up, man. It was amazing. It seems like it's a new person each week, right? Van Ginkel the week before, and it's Cashman. We didn't have a deep linebacker crew, and now we have guys that fit the positions more. And I feel like we're deeper across the board. Is there anybody else that's standing out?
This is typically a good thing for a corner, but I think the only thing I really want to, and I wouldn't say standing out necessarily, but like the fact that Stephon Gilmore is just like, it feels like he's never targeted, which is like such a good thing for a corner. If you don't got a guy throwing your way and you don't hear a cornerback's name, that typically means they're doing their job. And I think Josh Metellus, I think I heard an interview of him just talking about, I guess he had a question asked about like what it was like to just play with Stephon Gilmore and like a potential future Hall of Fame corner, having a guy come into the locker room like that. And he just kind of talked about his veteran presence and how he carries himself, and he said it's just pretty cool to see a guy come in and he's literally like never targeted, it seems like, and that really helps our guys a lot, especially our edge rushers.
And having Kyrie Jackson pass away in the offseason, and then it was probably the lowest point of our offseason. We had such high hopes for him because he tweeted out one day, and I tweeted CB1 underneath his tweet, and I truly believe that he could have been that for us, and the way that Kwesi just didn't stop trying to improve this team, and just went about his business and got us a Gilmore. And, I feel like we have 3 cornerbacks that are really respectable. And, Murphy the week before had a better game than he had this week, but I feel so much better with these guys. And there was coverage sack. We did have a coverage sack in this last game. And that's something that don't happen with us, with corners and our safeties, is we don't get too many coverage sacks. But I feel like these guys are sticking with their players and having that veteran presence, still having a Harrison Smith out there. There is that the back end of that defense has got a lot of veterans, and they seem to be gelling together quite a bit. But really, it starts with the pass rush, and makes it all happen. Makes it harder for that quarterback to know where to throw it. Now, anybody else standing out? Let's offensive side of the ball. What do you think of Jalen Naylor? So there's 3 guys. That I banged the drum for the past 2 or 3 years, and that was Jalen Naylor. I said was the best value pick in our draft in 22 at number 6, and I say best value. I didn't say the best pick. And then the second guy said that year was Ty Chandler. And then I've been banging for Blake Brandel. I feel completely fucking vindicated, and I need to start writing books about how to spot talent. And no, I'm kidding, but I've been wrong too. I also really like Booth Jr. But yeah, those 3 dudes, man, and Jalen Naylor and Ty Chandler, kind of talk about both of those guys, because again, we had different guys step up, and this week it was Ty Chandler. Jalen Naylor stepped up big time this game, and he did last game with that touchdown. Tell me about those guys.
Yeah, Jalen Naylor, Speedy Naylor is what
he got that block got down the field, got in front of that guy. He was a rocket.
That play is forever gonna live in my head rent free. I just I don't know, like, I didn't watch it, and I watched
the ref was fast.
Yeah, isn't that wild?
They had him going 18 miles an hour. They put the clock on him.
The ref?
Yeah, they someone put out a video, and they had the 18. They put out the video on the ref for going 18 miles an hour. He's famous now.
Gosh, that blows my mind, man. I feel like I didn't acknowledge either the ref or Speedy Naylor, I guess, in that play as it was happening in real time, because you're just so excited that
I didn't either.
He scored a 97-yard touchdown, but as I watched it back, I'm like, holy crap! Like, if that isn't like a play that like all high school coaches would want to show their kids, like. That hustle from Naylor, going from like the 40-yard line all the way down to the goal line. Like, JJ actually probably doesn't score. He probably doesn't score on that play if Naylor doesn't hustle his ass down.
And how many times have we seen Justin Jefferson get caught just short of the goal line?
Oh yeah, all the time. But Speedy Naylor said that didn't happen today. So, gosh, just fantastic. I haven't even really talked about him as a receiver much. All he does is catch touchdowns. What, 3 catches?
Yeah, right.
Touchdowns?
He had like 3 catches, 2 touchdowns, but the biggest play probably of his career so far was on that last drive and the seam route on the back shoulder. Mm-hmm. He caught it, made a big play. He's looking for it. They have a chemistry apparently.
Yeah, it's awesome to see something like that happen in such a short amount of time. A late round draft pick that's really struggled. He's always had a lot of potential. We already knew that. Just struggled to stay healthy.
Staying healthy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's the biggest thing. But Ty Chandler too, really impressive as well. I think he really is. I don't know if he ever has the ability to be like a full-time bell cow in this league. I think the role that he's in now is perfect for what he is, and just a change of pace back. I love him coming in and setting off Aaron Jones, because I feel like Ty Chandler has just awesome acceleration. He's so damn fast. He hits the hole hard. He can catch the ball. He gets upfield quickly, and I feel like that's what KOC really likes to do in this offense: run running back screens and do a lot of misdirection. And I think Ty Chandler is just the absolute perfect offset back.
We have a
to do stuff
completely
like
different
that.
running game now. I feel like
It's
we
wild.
are legitimately a good running team.
Could you think of many teams that we had in the past that were more boring to watch, like our running games that we had previously? Maybe like Matt Asiata in 2014 or something like that. But Alex Madison, watching Alex Madison go for 3 yards a carry last year was just absolutely terrifying. Not terrifying, but just so hard to watch.
I just what if we started Ty Chandler at the beginning of the year last year? What if, just things.
Yeah.
And then we ended up being pretty shallow at defense, but that team could have went somewhere, right? I felt like that team could have won more games. Obviously, if Cousins didn't get hurt, but speaking of Cousins, I might as well bring that up. Why not? Why not? Because they on Twitter yesterday, I felt like there was a lot of ex Cousin, well, probably still Cousins haters.
Yeah.
That were pretty excited to watch Monday Night Football, thinking that the Philly was going to beat Atlanta, and to see Viking fans pretty much root for Philadelphia was going to. As soon as Cousins scored that touchdown or threw the touchdown at the end of the game, I was like, I posted a little bit because I was pretty freaking happy Philly lost. But I was happy for him. Now, I'm not happy if he comes and beats us. Hell no. But what did you think, Cousins, people putting out videos about on one play saying, oh, he's lost it. You can tell by this play, to now nobody's posting shit after this game, after last night's game. What do you think? Is he still got it, you think, after last night?
Yeah, I definitely think he does. Kirk Cousins topic is always so touchy, especially on Vikings X, I should say, Vikings Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I've always been a big Kirk Cousins fan. I still wish him a lot of success.
And I didn't know this. So go ahead.
Oh, like me?
Yeah, I didn't know. I just talk about anything. Anybody. I have so many Kirk hate. I have Judd on my channel before, so
yeah, it doesn't.
I don't think he will come on again, but. Yeah, tell me what you were thinking.
Yeah, I don't understand the hate against him. I guess you watch the documentary. If you've seen the documentary Quarterback on Netflix last year, I don't know how you don't root for a guy like that. And I feel like the team kind of could back that up as well. I feel like you can see a lot of teammates that really respect Kirk and wanted to be there for the guy. I wouldn't say he's necessarily like a locker room rah-rah guy. I think JJ McCarthy potentially has the ability to be. I think that's really a dude that could really just really motivate, I think, almost anybody on his team. And I'm not necessarily, I really think Kirk is that type of person. But I just think he's definitely still has enough in the tank to carry his team 1, maybe 2 more years to a playoff run. And I did see a couple clips. I actually didn't get to watch the game last night. I had some personal stuff going on that I had to attend to. But I did watch highlights and some of the clips that you're attesting to here with Kirk throwing off his front foot as opposed to throwing off his back foot because they didn't want to put any weight on it. So that was kind of scary to see. But I definitely think the Falcons are going to be a playoff team this year still. Obviously, Pittsburgh got the best of them in week 1, but I think you'll see.
Yeah, I think it's a team still trying to figure out itself, and I think they realize that, hey, we can unleash Kirk a little bit, because early in the game they were going run, pass, drop the pass, or there was a penalty after a play that they would have went down with inside the 10, that illegal roughness after the play that stuck him back to the 30, and then they ran out of time, and they end up Kirk not wanting to get sacked. He throws out the back of the end zone when guys came open late, and it makes him look bad because there's wide open guys, but he didn't want to take the sack. So he took the lead 3 times in that game. He came down in the second half right away and went up 15 to 7, I think. And then at the end, you think he's dead, right? Minute 30, he threw a pick last week in the last drive, and then he ends up just thrown at will down that field. But yeah, I think it's good for the league.
What quarterback in the league doesn't do that?
What's that?
What quarterback in the league doesn't do what you just said? Like, I feel like he takes so much flack for specific situations like that, like throwing a pick at the end of the game or something.
Oh yeah,
like that.
right.
And every QB in the league does it. We've seen Mahomes do it.
Yeah, I remember, and now it's trying the Kirk Cousins segment, but last year was a perfect example of it. He threw a pick 6 against Carolina. You go look at the career pick 6 guys, and it's Tom Brady, it's Brett Favre, it's all these Hall of Famers, right? That lead the league in all-time pick 6s, and Kirk was like down there at like 25.
Yeah.
Right. So yeah, he always throws pick 6s. No, every quarterback. Oh yeah, one of the big guys was Peyton Manning. Those pick 6s. But yeah, there are a lot of times you're pressing. Now that was my big problem with him back in 2007, 2018 and 19, is that I felt he tried to do it on first down because he threw a pick and that was on, I think, first down. And that's what I always had a problem with him early on his career, but I think he got over that late. To change topics, because I have listeners that absolutely can't stand Kirk Cousins, we won't subject them to any more of it. Now, gosh, let's just go over all impressions of this next game. What do you think we got to do to pull out a victory at home against these Texans?
Yeah, this is a fun topic, and I think this is going to be probably one of the tougher matchups we'll play this year. I actually get to go to the game Sunday. I'm kind of excited, but this is the Texans have probably one of the most dynamic offenses that we'll see all year. Lots of weapons. Nico Collins, I think, is arguably maybe the most underrated receiver in the league right now. He's dominating guys every single week, and he's dominating like big names too, like dating back to last year. Nico Collins, I think he's wide receiver 1 on that team personally over Diggs. I don't know how many people would agree with that. Maybe it's not even a hot take at this point in Diggs' career anymore, but Nico Collins is their guy. Big dude, fast. Seems like he catches almost everything that's thrown at him. And then you got Diggs, who's your middle tier route runner, the savvy guy that is going to go ahead and pick up a bunch of first downs. That's going to be he's going to be out for blood too. His first game back in US Bank Stadium since he's left Minnesota. How many years has that been now? 6 years probably. Gosh, it's been a while. 2019.
2020 was Justin's first year, right?
So it would have been 19, I think, is when he was.
Yeah, Justin's first year was 2020. So.
Yeah, so Diggs' first game back in Minnesota. He's gonna come to play, and I'm really hoping if there is an ex-Viking that we want to talk about that I'm maybe not that big a fan of, it's Diggs. Just all the comments that have come out within the past month or so about him not having anything good to say about the organization in general, which is kind of wild because I feel like you hear a lot of ex-Vikings players say nothing great about the facilities, the coaches, the owners. And Diggs didn't have anything good to say. So what I'm really hoping to see, he's going to want his targets against his former team, and I'm kind of hoping C.J. Stroud's pressured so much and hitting other guys, not getting first downs, and Diggs maybe throws a little temper tantrum on the sideline in the third quarter or something like that when they're down by 10. I would love that.
Okay, so our game plan is to piss off Diggs and have him throw 10 downs. Have him walk off the field. So yeah, that's a guy that could have went down in Viking history as a legend. He had a legendary moment.
Yeah.
But is he going to be considered a Vikings legend now? And I think if you leave a team like Moss did, right? Moss got traded, but he's still considered the best receiver we had. He played 7 years for us. It's like Diggs. You could have been that guy. You could have been a Moss. You could have been a legendary guy because you had that moment that everybody's going to remember. And I just feel like you kind of throw that all away when he acts the way he does. And it's just, and there's there's still people out there that just think the world of Diggs. But I think now a second team is now seeing what Diggs is like. It's not just us. It's not just the Bills. It's him. I think we found out it's him. Don't you think?
No, yeah. No, 100%. I think he's got the ideal divaness. I don't even know what the word is for that. But
wide receivers got to be divas. And I think you might have posted something about that, or you shared a post about how we've lucked out, or we should appreciate Justin Jefferson and the way he is. That guy could be a diva beyond divas. I think Jamar Chase is like the diva, right? And they were on the same team together. And Jamar Chase is like, if I want to beat him, I'll beat the shit out of him, but he meant beat the shit out of his contract or whatever. He just doesn't want to win by a penny. He wants to beat the shit out of it. But we got Justin Jefferson over here that doesn't talk to the media at all about contracts. And then you got Jamar Chase just making it all about himself. And I think there's a huge difference, and we should just feel it. I think we deserve Justin Jefferson after a Percy Harvin, after a Diggs. I feel like we deserve him.
No, I agree. I feel like I took a lot of flack for that post because people are like, "Oh, like, you seriously don't think that we like appreciate him?" And I think it's one of those things where I feel like we won't appreciate him until he's gone. Obviously, we appreciate him as a player; he's the best receiver in the league right now. But I just look at so many small things. Like I was actually watching the Chiefs Bengals game, and that's actually what made me tweet that comment about that specifically because Jamar Chase, and granted he may be like was in the right, but not fully in the right with this specific situation. But I can't remember what happened on the play specifically, but the ref must have said something to him, and then he went after the ref.
Right.
Joe Burrow was like trying to flag him down, like, dude, don't hurt our team. Like, just let it go, back up. You're gonna get us a penalty, back up. And Chase shoved him. Like he shoved his quarterback.
I thought he pushed the ref too. It looked like he pushed the ref. I don't know.
Like that's just a scenario. I'm like, I feel like JJ knows better. Like he would never do that to like do anything to hurt his team. And you see all this stuff about him, like when he was trying to get an extension this offseason. Like obviously everybody wants to go and get their bag. They want to be paid their worth. He should be the highest paid receiver in the league because he is the best receiver in the league. But he had so many comments about how like I'm going to show up here. I'm still going to be at the facility to be an example for my team members because I don't want to be a distraction for them with all of this, like with all this contract stuff. Like, because they're going to get questions about it too. Like, what are your thoughts on JJ not being in camp? And I just really, really appreciate that about a guy that's 25 years old that has such a good head on his shoulders. Like, I'm just actually almost get like goosebumps thinking about it because I just feel like we never, ever, ever see that with anybody in the league.
Yeah, I mean, I think Randy Moss doesn't need to change directions though. I think Randy Moss would have just ran that in, don't you think?
Oh yeah.
But he's such a savvy player. He made it happen, It's like he just has such good body control, and has the movement, and his hands are amazing, and his is close to Randy Moss. He's different player than Randy Moss, but just physical talent is all there. I think he's a better route runner than Randy. Randy is just go ball, go ball, go ball. But I think Justin has all the moves and he has all the routes. And so he's just so talented across the board. And he's easily always going to be top 5 for a few years now. He might still be number 1, but hopefully he stays healthy. Hopefully his quad's fine. He makes Sam Darnold a better player. It's really good. I think it's really good that now we have a fan base on it. Kirk Cousins gone, that everybody's finally rooting for our quarterback, and there's no back and forth about it except for the Kirk haters still posting about him. I feel like I'm in Atlanta Twitter sometimes, but I'm like, it's just nice to have us all together. I welcome them back to being fans again. I do. I welcome all the time back to being, hey, congratulations on being a fan of the team and hoping we win again. I'm such a dick sometimes. But what do you think about are we going to win this game? Give me a score prediction. I asked
score predictions everything. Okay.
Yeah, and clip it. I'm gonna clip it. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, you're good. Gosh dang it. That's I feel like my record has actually typically been pretty good at Vikings games. I think I'm really like just jinxing us right now because I feel like that's just the way it is, and we're probably gonna get comments on it. But I think I've been to like 20-some games, and I think they've only lost 4.
That's freaking amazing. I do not have that same record.
They've all been in like the last like 2 years too. Like I went to that Cowboys Vikings spanking like 2 years ago where we lost like 40-3. That was miserable.
That was awful. That was one of the worst games I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, it was tough. I think with this game specifically, the Vikings are gonna have to put up points. They're gonna have to put up points. I don't know if the defense is gonna have the same treatment that they've had the past 2 weeks, with a somewhat rattled Niners team with Christian McCaffrey out, and obviously a horrendous Giants offense. There's just so many weapons on Houston's offense. I think for them not to score points with Collins, Diggs, Tank Dell is going to get his touches. Joe Mixon's looked really good the first 2 games. Unless they can find a way to like consistently get the CJ Stroud, but I really like Bobby Slowick too. I think he's been really good for Stroud's development, and I think they're going to find a way to probably score at least 20 points. So I'm going to go 27-23 Vikings.
Okay, follow-up question. How long a field goal will Reichard kick this week?
Dude, that kid's insane. That's a whole other like separate like topic that we
He hasn't kicked a long
just,
one yet, but I think as long as it's 39 or something like that.
Almost feels like we have just based off like training camp and stuff, it feels like we finally found a kicker that isn't gonna break our hearts yet, anyways.
Well, in your score prediction, you have to kick a field goal. So
yeah.
How long a field goal is it?
I'll say he'll get a long one this week. Let's go 50. Let's go 53. Let's get him over the 50 mark.
Yeah, I don't want any more 20. I want touchdowns instead of 20-some-yard field goals. Let's go. Yeah, it's great having you on, man. I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to come on a third time at least so you can be a friend of the program. You're not a friend of the program until then.
Yeah.
And tell the listeners where they can find you, man.
Yeah, I'm pretty centrally focused on Twitter for the most part. I've had my account here, I think, since like my senior year of high school. So you can find me on Twitter at @purple_post, or you can just search my name, Tanner Rubber. That should pop up too. I have some horrendous takes at times, like the average fan does. But I love talking Vikings football. I'm also a loan officer. I do mortgage loans for a living, and I am licensed in all 50 states. So if you'd like to chat, maybe not even Vikings football, but just football in general sometime, in the process of also trying to buy a home or maybe even potentially refinance to get that interest rate down, you can always touch base with me.
This is my mortgage guy. I trust him. There you go.
I appreciate that, boss.
All right, Skull Vikes.